It is Sunday, the 19th of May, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Well, here we are at the end of week 3. The theme for this week was, of course, Wuv, only Wuv. And I'm bookending this by talking about another Andrew Huang song. Specifically, on Monday, I talked about Love Number 1 by Andrew Huang. Well, today, we're going to talk about Love Number 2 by Andrew Huang. It's from the same album. They're not musical reprises of each other. They're just both love songs that happen to be numbered. So they're not so related, but they do kind of have... It's interesting viewing them as a pair, you know. I thought it would make sense to have them be the start and end of this week. I already explained the whole thing with the project that these songs came from. This is also on Autumn. It's not the end of the album, though. If I was doing it, I would have made this the last song on the album, but the rest of Autumn is great, so I understand the order that it was put in the end. This one's a bit slower, bit more airy, less of a kind of a bah, bah, bah rock song than the first one. We're going to listen to it now and then come back and talk about it in a few minutes. And there it is, Love Number 2. For a long time, this was my favorite Andrew Huang song. Back when I first got into him and I listened to Summer and Autumn, Spring and Winter weren't out yet. This was my favorite Andrew Huang song for a long time. And I still really like it. He's made so many good songs since. And I've also come to appreciate some songs from beforehand a lot more. But this song, it still holds a special place in my heart, you know. I definitely prefer it to Love Number 1, but that's just kind of personal preference. I prefer this kind of spaced out song, the vibe of it, you know. I'm more generally in the mood for this one than I am the other. So like I said, it's not a reprise of the first one, but it is interesting that they're phrased the same way because Andrew has a lot of love songs. In fact, he has an EP called Love Songs, but he decided to call these ones Love Number 1 and Love Number 2. And I think that's interesting. I don't know if there's any specific reason. Maybe he just couldn't come up with another title for them and decided to go with Love Number 1 and Love Number 2 because they're on the same album and they both mention the word love in their chorus. But in terms of like theme, this one feels like more of a breakup song than one, which I was more ambiguous about. So we're gonna look at the lyrics here. We've gone off the deep end. We didn't see when the people we depend upon went home. So tell me your secrets. If I don't keep them, we don't have to be friends anymore. Anyone who hears this or even comes near it, I only have tears in my eyes singing, everybody, you're so fine. Everybody, I love you right now. Everybody, you're all right. Everybody, I love you right now and forever. So I think it's pretty clearly, you know, we've gone off the deep end. It feels like the breakdown of a relationship, you know. Tell me your secrets. If I don't keep them, we don't have to be friends anymore. The fact that it says friends rather than... Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be a romantic relationship. This could be about a friendship, rather, instead. But it kind of speaks to an insecurity for either of them. You know, we don't have to be friends anymore. He's saying, like, I want you to trust me with your secrets because I think that I can trust myself to not tell other people. And the guarantee is you can forfeit our friendship for that if I betray you in that way. And then, everybody, you're so fine. Everybody, I love you right now. I think is just such an interesting... The chorus is such an interesting vibe because it's so all-loving. It's such an interesting contrast to the verses, which are so, if not straight up sad, just like melancholic. And then the chorus is so universally loving, you know? And the second verse is, everything breaks down, deteriorates now, turns into things that cannot be mine. So tell me you love me. I just want to hear it, even if it isn't true. It's better than crying. It's better than silence. It's better than saying goodbye. And then repeat the chorus again. The chorus repeats one more time, and then that's the end of the song. So the second verse is more straightforward, I think. You know, everything breaks down, deteriorates now, pretty obvious. Turns into things that cannot be mine. The kind of unrequitedness, it definitely feels like the narrator, the Andrew character, is still in love, and the other person is the person doing the breaking up. And then, tell me you love me, I just want to hear it, even if it isn't true. That's the lyric that gets me each time. Just wanting that reassurance, even if it's empty, just wanting to hear it, being so desperate for that. And then, it's better than crying, it's better than silence, it's better than saying goodbye. It's a very relatable experience, that kind of, tell me sweet lies. Like, tell me things that aren't true. Tell me what I want to hear, you know, because I can't stand to be without you instead. It's an interesting thing. And then, again, to contrast that with the chorus of everybody, you're so fine, everybody, I love you right now. Especially because the first verse ends with, I only have tears in my eyes singing, and then the chorus. So it's like a desperate plea to the universe of, like, kind of reassuring yourself that you still have faith, you still In humanity, I mean, not in God. Like, you still love the universe, you still love life. Kind of in a similar way to true love will find you in the end. Like, even if he has been rejected, he's saying, "Everybody, I love you right now." It's a strange counterpoint to the central thesis of the verses, but it's interesting to me how it's like, I'm having this bad experience, but I want you to know that I love you. Not you, the person breaking up with me, everybody. I just think it's a really interesting contrast, and I get that chorus stuck in my head a lot. Speaking of the tune of this song, I think it was my brother who pointed out that this song sounds like The Scientist by Coldplay, and I can't disagree. Now, this is guitar rather than piano, but just in terms of the tune, you know, come up to meet you, tell you I'm sorry, don't know how lovely you are. In contrast to, we've gone off the deep end. We didn't see when the people we depend upon went home. Like, they're not one to one, but I understand the similarities that he's pointing out completely, especially because The Scientist and this song use certain, like, you know, tell me your secrets. There's definitely a line of The Scientist that ends with secrets, and then the bit with the it's better than silence makes me think of the, you know, the science of progress. You know, it just kind of, there are a lot of similarities you can point out there. Also, the music video for this song, which I think is how I first heard it, was this music video. The music video features Andrew singing along to the song in a parking garage. It's black and white. He has earphones in, clearly to listen to the song. But it starts off with him lying on the ground. It looks like he's saying something, and the camera pans away from him, and then he re-enters the frame and sings the song. During the instrumental bridge, he plays the violin. There's a violin in the bridge, by the way. I mean, you've already listened to it at this point, but it's great. And then he goes back to singing, and then he like leaves out through the garage door, and then it pans back down to the floor, and he's on the floor singing the last lines of the song, and you realize that it's a loop. The music video is a loop. Him lying on the ground at the start looking like he's saying something was actually him saying the last bit of the song. And that's interesting that this video is a loop, because the video for The Scientist famously is played backwards. It starts off with a guy lying on a mattress. Well, a guy, Chris Martin, lying on a mattress, and then it plays backwards and you see him go through a car crash backwards. Very famous video. I just think it's interesting that these songs have similar melodies and music videos that involve manipulation of time. I don't know if it's coincidence, but I also don't really care, because I like, you know, songs are inspired by other songs. Ideas are inspired by other ideas. And I like both songs. I just think it's interesting to point out the similarities there. So in talking about the title, I mean, with the first one I said, is it the first song about love or a song about a first love? With this song, is it the second song about love? It certainly is on the album. I mean, all the songs on this album are about love, really. But I do think it's interesting that it's number 2, and this one's more of a breakup song, you know. Maybe it's about second chances or something like that. You could take sort of that kind of meaning into the title. Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that song, and that brings this week to a close. Next week's theme, I kind of was thinking about how I want to cover a lot of different genres on this show, because I listen to a lot of different genres. And I was looking at the songs I've already covered, and it's kind of a spectrum of pop and rock and whatever. And I was like, I haven't done any metal yet, and I really like metal. So I thought of doing a week of just metal, which is not entirely what I settled on, but just next week's theme is just generally that it's going to be heavier than what we've done before. The theme, I wrote the theme down as She's So Heavy, because we're starting with I Want You, She's So Heavy by the Beatles. Spoilers for tomorrow. So, you know, next week is going to be heavier music that we've been covering up to this point. That does mean that the music will generally be longer, because metal songs tend to be longer. One of the songs I want to cover next week is 15 minutes long, so look forward to that. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, leave comments, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell whoever. I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
Tell me your secrets. If I don't keep them, we don't have to be friends anymore. I don't know if you can pick that up. It's a very relatable experience, that kind of, you know, I just want you to tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies, tell me lies.